The G7 ministers quietly added, where applicable, in front of the One China policy. China's foreign ministry criticized the change. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the Chinese president a scared bully. She says the U.S. will not be an accomplice to the Chinese Communist Party's isolation of Taiwan. The Taiwan Defence Ministry reported 45 Chinese military aircraft and 10 warships near Taiwan. Tensions are soaring. China is trying to send its college students to the military. This is to prepare for potential conflict, and because the Chinese market is losing jobs. The secretive Beidaihe meeting in China is speculated to be underway. The Chinese president has been strangely absent this month, usually a sign the meeting has begun. Finally, hotels are ripping off 80,000 tourists stranded in Sanya, China. The resort city has closed due to a COVID outbreak, and tourists are unable to leave. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sound of Hope News. My name is Daniela Wolensack, and today is August 10th. The G7 foreign ministers added the phrase "where applicable" when talking about the One China policy on August 3rd. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin criticized the change. He said that it is illegal and invalid for individual countries to add various prefixes to the One China principle. Speaking to Radio Free Asia, the convener of the Foreign and International Affairs program at Fuzhou Catholic University in Taiwan, Meng Zhenchang, said the Chinese Communist Party's constant military exercises are a way to change the status quo in the Taiwan Strait. The exercises cross the middle of the strait and approach Taiwan's coastline. For America, the future One China policy could be divided into two parts, with Taiwan as a democratic China. Chang further said that the One China policy defined by Western countries is different from Beijing's One China principle. An honorary professor at National Chengshi University, Ding Shufan, pointed out that the U.S.'s One China policy is very complicated. It was initially conditional that if China did not peacefully deal with the Taiwan issue, the U.S. could sell arms to Taiwan. The current military drills run by China in the Taiwan Strait violate this premise of peace. U.S. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said her visit to Taiwan was absolutely worth it, and that the U.S. would not be an accomplice to the Chinese Communist Party's isolation of Taiwan. In an interview with NBC, Pelosi said, quote, "We can't allow the Chinese government to isolate Taiwan. It's just not up to them to decide who gets to go to Taiwan." Pelosi stated that Chinese President Xi Jinping is acting like a scared bully due to the pressure at home from a harsh lockdown and the looming threat of economic failures. The cascading effect of China's property crisis is in turn causing problems in China's banking sector. So far, experts estimate that Chinese banks may face $350 billion in losses from the property crisis. It is particularly important to the Chinese president that he appears strong, as this year he's focused on securing an unprecedented third term in office. On August 8th, Taiwan Foreign Minister Joseph Wu told a press conference that the Chinese Communist Party was using Pelosi's visit to Taiwan as a pretext to prepare for a potential invasion of Taiwan, and that China's larger goal was to subvert the Asia-Pacific status quo and control the East and South China Seas through the Taiwan Strait. During her visit to Taiwan, Pelosi told ROC President Tsai Ing-wen, quote, "Now, more than ever, U.S. solidarity with Taiwan is important, and that's the message we're sending here today." In recent days, tensions around the Taiwan Strait are soaring. On Monday, August 8th, the Taiwan Defence Ministry claimed that China has stationed 45 military aircraft and 10 warships in the vicinity of Taiwan, but they had not yet encroached on the island's territory. Taiwan responded with combat air patrols, naval ships, and preparing land-based missile systems. On Tuesday, the Defense Ministry reported the Chinese Communist Party's continued military exercises show that the threat of force has not been reduced. The Chinese Communist Party takes the self-governed island as an inseparable part of its territory that must be unified with China. The Eastern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army said that sea and air drills near Taiwan were continuing, marking at least the sixth consecutive day of exercises. China announced these military exercises targeting Taiwan in retaliation to U.S. House Speaker Pelosi's visit to Taiwan last week. Taiwan Foreign Minister Joseph Wu called China's military exercises a serious provocation. Wu said, China has used the drills in its military playbook to prepare for an invasion of Taiwan. He pointed out that the military exercises, missile launches, cyber attacks, and trade sanctions are, quote, an attempt to weaken public morale in Taiwan. An opinion poll published on Monday by Taiwan's Chinese Association of Public Opinion Research showed that more than 60% of respondents were either not that worried or not worried at all that there would be a war between Taiwan and China. About 54% said they believe Pelosi's visit was good for U.S.-Taiwan ties. The Chinese military is trying its best to recruit college students for the army. Official media has used the military exercises around Taiwan to publicize recruiting in the People's Liberation Army. The news merely received a lukewarm response on the Chinese internet. Some commenters say it's because the communist military's enlistment package is no longer attractive to children from middle-class families. On August 7th, China's biggest state-run media, CCTV, reported that military recruitment is in full swing for the second half of 2022. For the first time, the enlistment age of youth was relaxed to 26 years old. Priority was given to science and technology students and those with the skills needed for war preparation. The report said that the conscription medical examination work has been planned and is being carried out. In an interview with Radio Free Asia, Beijing-based political commentator Kai Bo states, the Chinese Communist Party is vigorously promoting the draft, not for the sake of immediate war, but for the need to prepare for war. The fact that university students are the main force in the new round of conscription is related to the economic environment of China this year. The Chinese government needs a way to absorb its more than 10 million college graduates, as China's economy is underperforming due to the zeroing out of the economy. The unemployment rate for youth is over 18%. This draft will alleviate the employment problem. The 7 members of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China have been invisible for 9 days since they attended a reception at the end of July for Army Day. Every year, China's leaders gather at an unannounced meeting in the northern coastal resort of Beidaihe. The chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese Democratic Party, Wang Juntao, told the Epoch Times that the Standing Committee of the Chinese Communist Party's Politburo may now be in Beidaihe. It is speculated that the meeting in Beidaihe may have quietly begun. The contents of their meetings and how they meet are kept secret. The Chinese president sent a message of condolence to the Communist Party of Cuba on the oil tank explosion in Cuba. On August 8th, the CCP mouthpiece, People's Daily Online and Xinhua News Agency reported the news without pictures or video. This is the first news related to the Chinese president's activities since August. His silence is likely because he has been at the Beidaihe meeting. On the current political situation of the Chinese Communist Party, Wang Juntao believes that there has been a lot of opposition to Xi Jinping within the Chinese Communist Party, but it has been suppressed. Many people in the party have been dissatisfied with the economic downturn, the deterioration of international relations, and the pandemic prevention policies that run counter to the world trend. After Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, the Chinese Communist Party immediately launched large-scale military exercises around the Taiwan Strait. A senior associate fellow at the Royal United Services Institute think tank and former British diplomat Charles Parton commented on China's threats to Taiwan. Quote, "Invasion within this decade is far from certain to succeed. Failure would spell the end of Xi Jinping, his dream, and possibly the CCP." 80,000 tourists are stranded in the resort city of Sanya, China, because of a COVID outbreak. Local authorities have taken the opportunity to rip them off, calling it the Golden Week. Tourists can only leave the island after completing a 7-day screening. Recently, the city held a press conference to ask local hotels to extend stays at half price for stranded visitors. But according to the paper, some hotels refused to accept the half-price policy. Others raised prices in disguise and then discounted, which is more expensive than when booking. Media reporters contacted many hotels. One of the hotels had a room of around $220 a night on the booking platform, but the door price was around $350. Even after a 50% discount, the price would still be around $175. The reservation price for this type of room in September is about $150 a night. In addition, other prices are also rising. Due to isolation requirements, some people are required to remain in their hotels. Food and drink in this situation cost up to $75. One person called carrying 3 boxes of instant noodles back to the hotel as, quote, war supplies. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you saw, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you tomorrow.